Alright, so I just had this tree blow down a few days ago when it was really windy. I cut it up a little bit, but let me just try to pull this out of here because it looks bad. So I'd like to use my track skid steer, but it's on a job far away. But I think I could do it with my pickup truck. I don't know, the snow's certainly not going to help, but the goal is to get it up through there to the firewood pile. These 3/8 grade 70 chains are good. A pickup truck pretty much can't break these. Even one time I was towing a junk car around and my friend was riding it. It didn't run. He was just trying to crash into things and make it flip over, and it wouldn't flip. And we kept hitting things in the car and ripping parts off the car. And finally, I took a chain, I wrapped it around the entire motor of the car. I said, all right, we're not ripping this off. And then he crashed the thing down in a ditch, and the motor just crashed right into the ground. And it ripped the hitch right off the truck. You know, like, it was such a violent stop, but you know, it was one of these chains and it didn't break. And I welded the hitch back on it, but I wish that was on video, because that was pretty funny. Alright, I'm pretty much hooked to the entire tree here, so I don't know if I'm gonna get it, but I'm gonna try. I'll probably just have to cut some pieces off of it. I'd probably get it. Look at that, it's getting caught right in this stump. Alright, I'm going to do more chain here. I think if I have more chain, I can get over to the left more. Alright, so this tree is just like jamming into the ground, and I can't, it's close, but I can't pull it through there. So I need to lift it up a little bit. So I just cut this. So I figure if I put this right about there and pull, I think that will work. All right, so I'm just bringing this in the garage for an oil change and greasing everything and just a general inspection to make sure that nothing's about to fall apart. So let's start by draining the oil out of it. All right, while that drains, I'll just give the truck a once over. So usually the things you want to look at your U-joints, make sure none of them are loose, because I've seen them break and break the transmission. So if those are bad, you got to change them right away. You want to shake down the front wheels, make sure there's no play in any of the tie rod ends or ball joints or wheel bearings. And just kind of check everything. Like I see here, my exhaust, this muffler is getting ready to fall off. See, this section of pipe is rusted out here, and it already rusted out right there. So this needs to be fixed right away, because this muffler is pretty new, but it's going to be missing soon. So I need a tailpipe and just a straight section of pipe for that spot right there. And then you want to check all your fluids. A lot of people, no one ever checks like their transfer case fluid. You open that screw up. That's supposed to be full to that line. And it's ATF in this truck. Okay, it's really important. Keep all your U-joints greased. Okay, and there's some grease fittings on the front end here. In the lower ball joint. And the tie rod end. And I think even the universal joint. Alright, now sometimes when I post videos about when this truck's in it, sometimes I get people making fun of this truck. Now look, I paid just about $2,000 for this truck over 6 years ago. Now I guess these people must have newer trucks that are fancy or something. I don't know, but if you're spending $40,000+ on a pickup truck, I really think that's a huge waste of money, because with a little bit of maintenance and stuff, you can keep an old truck going just fine. This has honestly been one of the best trucks I've ever had. I mean, I've done a few major repairs to it, since I had it. One time I rebuilt the transmission and, a few other things, but, it hasn't been that bad, really. In paying $2,000 for the thing, I mean, geez, you can't go wrong there. And the other thing I should point out here, this lift I'm using, I spent so many years laying on the ground working underneath vehicles, and it laying on the ground doing anything just sucks. It's so uncomfortable. You can't get the work done nearly as well. This lift, once I got this thing, it's so much easier to do maintenance on anything. And the other thing about these lifts, they're really not that much money. I think this lift, I paid actually the same amount I paid for the truck. I think I paid $2,400 for this lift. And, really, if you think about it, sometimes people bring their vehicle to a garage to have it repaired. 1 or 2 repair bills can cost the same amount as this lift. And, this lift, it's like a 5-ton lift, so you can pick up a 1-ton dump truck, or you can pick up like a 3/4 ton pickup with a plow on it or something, no problem. There's cheaper lifts out there. I see them, they really seem to start at like $1,400, but, don't get the cheapest one. I mean, get like a 5-ton lift. I think this one's an Atlas, and it seems like a pretty good lift. I'm not working commercially with it. I have it to keep my own stuff repaired, but you should kind of do the math. Like, all right, so some of these people, they'll have, let's say they have a $50,000 pickup truck. For that same $50,000, I got a pickup truck, I got a dump truck, I got a trailer, I got a mini excavator, I got a lift. Look at that, the Napa filter is bigger than the CarQuest filter. I like that. This is the transfer case fluid. So all it's got to be is full right to this line here. Now it's usually okay in this truck, and it looks like it's pretty dry, so, well, oh no, it's coming out. See, that's perfect. That's exactly where it should be. Let me see if I can touch it. Yeah, the fluid's right there. Alright, here's another one. This, I actually rebuilt this rear axle. I guess it was like 3 years ago now. It just, all the gears were fine, but the bearings were bad, especially the pinion bearing. And I can see the fluid right there. Oh, look at that. Perfect. Alright, another thing I did on this truck a while back, but doesn't need to be done now, but I just want to talk about it. See how the whole truck is covered in salt? That's from the winter. And this salt actually sucks because it absolutely destroys the cars. I know a lot of people watching this probably don't have that problem in their area, but the salt just ruins vehicles. You could look at this thing. There's a lot of rust on it. But the one thing that rusts out is the brake lines. And it sucks when they rust out because all of a sudden you'll step on the brakes and a line will blow out and you won't have any brakes. Really, it's kind of criminal that the automakers are allowed to even use the steel brake lines. So what I did in this truck, I changed all the brake lines to copper. This is actually a copper line here. It will never rust out, and it's easier to work with. And when you go to the store to buy the, it comes in 25-foot rolls, and, it's more money than the steel, but a drop more. Like, it should have just came this way from the factory, but I don't know. I've changed so many brake lines before. You're always changing brake lines. I just tied this muffler up with wire. That way it's at least right where it's supposed to be, and it won't fall off until I can get the new pipes to fix it. Alright, I'm just going to change the oil in the plow pump. You really got to do this once a year because the pump gets the fluid gets like water in it, and then the pump won't work. And it's pretty frustrating when you're out plowing and you got 20 people that all want their driveway plowed at the same time when your equipment's not working. So I may need to actually heat this up too, and if there's any ice in there, because the thing was just running slow on me. But usually this unit, this Western plow pump, this has been one, actually this whole plow in general has been the best plow I've ever had. This plow does everything great. It backblades good, it doesn't trip, it's not violent when it trips. This rubber cutting edge on here I added, that is great too, because this thing, it never messes up driveways, and it's just so much smoother when you're running it. I've had Fisher plows and Diamond plows where just the cutting edge trips, and those plows are terrible because the cutting edge, it trips all the time. It's so violent when it happens, and then the thing's constantly digging in the ground. And that Diamond plow, like if you're plowing a little bit of ice, that thing was worthless. Or not ice, like if it was like a hard snow that wasn't that deep, all that would happen is that cutting edge would fold back and the plow wouldn't plow anything. These plows are the whole blade trips are so much better, especially this one. It's got this shock absorber, with the springs there. So even when this thing does trip, and it almost never does, it's really smooth. So this plow didn't come on this truck. When I bought this truck, it had a plow on it, but it was a Diamond by Meyer, and that plow was a piece of garbage. Like even when it worked, like first of all, this unit could never get that working. I'd get it working, I'd fix it, and it stopped working. It was garbage. Then even when it did work, the plow itself was terrible. It just the cutting edge would just flip back. It would never plow anything. I put new springs on it, adjusted them. I was trying to the thing just did not work. So then it was like, I remember changing it. It was like one snowstorm I was out plowing for the day, and then it was supposed to snow again. I knew I had to plow everyone else the next day. and the diamond plow, the thing stopped working. I couldn't get it working, and it was like 11 o'clock at night, and I had this plow in my backyard. I'm like, all right, I'm switching these plows. I was working on that thing till like 4 in the morning because you had to take the whole frame off of the and use this frame because they're completely different. And then I had to switch all the wiring too because I tried to reuse the wiring and couldn't do it. It was completely different. So, but it was worth it. This plow is so much better. But yeah, for snow plows, definitely get a Western plow. I wouldn't buy another Fisher again. I definitely wouldn't buy another Meyer. I mean the Fisher and Meyer, they weren't terrible, but this Western is definitely the way to go. Alright, so now it's time to refill this thing. This is just ATF in this.